Carrie Fairneck. Welcome back to NBAA TV Live. We're excited that you're joining us here on the show floor at BACE. I'm joined by General Lloyd Fig Newton, many of you know, who's been the chair of NBAA, and we're excited to dive in with you a little bit, General. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a real pleasure, Carrie, to be here with you. So thanks so very, very much.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the past year.
Okay.
What are some of your big accomplishments when you look back at what you've been able to do?
Well, I'm not so much whether it's all about me, but these are really about the team of NBAA. I just happen to play a role in trying to get the team, make the team, all of us work together. And so that has been absolutely terrific. So if I look at some of those successes that we've had over the last year, you certainly can't miss, I'll go by without saying on airspace air traffic control privatization.
For sure.
Was certainly the big thing that we did. What really happened there was this idea of privatizing airspace it was just a bad idea. Mm-hmm. But what we were able to do is to generate the interest in the general aviation community that really came together in a big way. But whether we were talking about people in small towns with small airports all around the country, to include the Congress and a whole host of folks that are in the industry, really had an impact of helping us to defeat that bill that was in the Congress at the time. So by far, that's the biggest thing that we as an organization and as a team,
right.
And I'm just so very proud to have had the opportunity to be a part of that.
And as people wonder, I know that was defeated. Is that something that we still have to keep our eye on? What's next with this topic?
Well, I think we still have to keep our eye on it. It's been passed in the law now that we will not privatize airspace, but I think we'll always have to keep an eye on it. It could come back to the forefront again. But I think what we also have is a lot of people know a lot more now about what we were trying to share.
True.
That the airspace is just not for sale. And so we want people to know that this is an entity and a part of this industry, as well as what we do in the flying arena, that just really needs to be there for everybody to be a part of it and have the opportunity to enjoy it. So.
That's exciting. I know you guys really worked hard at that, so congratulations on how that ended, which is really good. Well,
thanks so very much. There were a whole host of folks that played very key roles in reaching out right at the grassroots and touching people all around the country who said, no, we don't want to do this. And that's what helped us defeat.
Proof that you can make a difference, right?
You could really make a difference.
With the advocacy.
We had a number of people, we had folks, we launched an email campaign, social media, folks going out and personally talking with people. We played the whole system, the full spectrum of communicating to people just what this was all about, and they saw that we really needed to keep it. So. Awesome.
All right, let's switch to maybe expanding membership a little bit, talking about bringing in veterans and cadets and former military folks. Tell me about that focus and how important that is.
Well, it's extremely important. Number one, we want to grow NBAA and other organizations like NBAA, but NBAA specifically, and so we open up the aperture, so to speak, so that others could be a part. We created a membership category called professionals. And so now that will allow us to have young, say, folks that are cadets in Air Force ROTC or what have you, to come and join us, as well as veterans like myself, who, if I was not already a part of this organization, they can now come and be a part of the organization as well. So we see this as a tremendous step forward. And it's amazing how you watch this industry and it evolves over time. And it just really makes a difference. And now we are there with so much technology that's available to us. It really helps us to expand this membership and make contact and work with people, at all levels in our society.
You talked about the evolution of the industry. I know you've been around for a long time. Yeah. Tell me, what do you think is the really biggest thing going on right now in terms of change?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is probably in two areas. I think it's on the technology side as well as on the human capital side.
Oh, interesting.
And so on the technology side, we're going to see just what I think is a huge transformation of how we travel air-wise, moving from carbon fuels to a much more efficient and sustainable way of protecting our environment, as well as making various locations much more accessible and faster.
Right.
When you land at an airport and it's still going to take you an hour and a half to get downtown for the meeting, if you could cut that down to 20 or 30 minutes, that would be a huge impact. So I think we're going to see those kinds of things start to take place in the way of urban mobility and so on, which is a big headline these days. More pilotless vehicles are going to take place as well. It's already in the various industries out there. I think that's going to even be greater as we move forward. From the people side, we are really expanding the access for all of our citizens around the country and trying to educate them so that everybody knows that there's an opportunity to work in this industry. And there's going to be a big demand for that as we move forward. Right. So I think it's really, really important to do so. We find ourselves right now in a shortage for pilots, for instance, but there's a shortage across the board in other folks that work in the industry, whether that's out on the flight line with technicians there, whether that's the food service business of catering to our airplanes, whether that's flight attendants and so on. So there's a whole industry out there and opportunities there that's going to be in great demand. Every once in a while, folks think that aviation and travel in aviation is slowing down, is leveling off, and we won't need anymore. I don't find that to be true at all. I find it really growing. So.
And it's interesting, NBAA is really embracing that future, right? With the UAM Innovation Zone and so much that's happening here on the show floor. Speaking of things that are happening here, I know you have a really interesting keynote tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about your interview planned with General Jeannie Leavitt.
Yeah, well, Jeannie Leavitt, and I first met Jeannie when she was a lieutenant. A lot of folks really didn't know that when this idea first came up. But I met Jeannie when she was a lieutenant. She's just done extraordinary work of breaking those barriers and making our Air Force a much better Air Force, as well as making our country a much better country. Right. She served in combat, and she's an inspiration to not only young women, she's obviously an inspiration to women and young women, but she's an inspiration to all of the rest of folks that are engaged in the aviation community as well. Because you can see that track that she took from the very moment it was announced that we're going to put women into combat and to combat vehicles and the combat areas of specialty. Jeannie took that on and made it all happen. I'll tell more about that story on tomorrow when I'm interviewing with her. But it's an exciting story to tell. She's giving us the platform, I think, to launch, to get folks of all walks of life into this industry and make it work. So she's made our Air Force a much better Air Force.
Well, and it's so exciting that you're going to be interviewing her. I know NBAA has such a focus on diversity and inclusion and really inspiring all all of us, right?
Yeah.
That's exciting. And that interview is tomorrow at 10:30 during the keynote.
Yeah, during the keynote tomorrow, and it starts at 10:30. But you mentioned NBAA, and we really took a close look at what we needed to do as an association to ensure that we had full access and full opportunity for diversity and inclusion of all members of our society.
It's so important.
It's a very, very important role.
Incredible. Well, thank you for all the work you've done. I know it takes a village, but really, under your leadership, I know NBAA has been able to grow and do some really important things. So.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed the opportunity. It's been a real pleasure. I've grown with it as well, and to be able to work with Ed Boland and the NBAA team just been absolutely fascinating.
Awesome.
They're true professionals, so it's been my honor to do so.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, General, for being with us. We appreciate it very, very much. So for General Lloyd Fig Newton, I'm Carrie Fairneck. This has been NBAA TV, and we'll leave you now and send you to video of Fig getting an award from the Wright Brothers Memorial Trophy. So that'll be exciting for you guys to see. Thanks for being with us.